starting to make their way down to the members gallery. I have Roy Broadbear, Jeff Mole, Kevin Street, Wes Mazer, Joe Farwell, Roy Hawkins, Ron Dancy, Bob Miller. I have my constituency assistants Nicholas Woodfield and James Roy that will be joining us this afternoon, as well as the former member for Mississauga North, Terry Jones, who is making his way to the chamber. I'd like to welcome to Queen's Park.
We welcome our guests. Further introductions? Member from Newmarket, Aurora.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm pleased to welcome Councillor Jane Twinney from the town of Newmarket, who will be joining us today. She's here to express her support for a private member's bill that I will be introducing just a bit later today.
Well, thank you. We welcome her here. Further introductions? Further introductions? It is now time for members' statements. Member from Parry Sound, Muskoka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise in this House today to voice my concerns on the new trades tax on behalf of tradespeople from across Parry Sound, Muskoka. On March 8th, I joined with frustrated local tradespeople to sign the pledge to stop the trades tax. I was struck by just how great the frustration has become. One worker even took the time out of his workday to make the 3-hour trip from Sudbury to attend the event and to voice his concerns. While there are many serious issues with the new tax, the fact that local tradespeople have been caught off guard by the new fees that are soon to become mandatory is most concerning. I was fortunate enough to hear from hairdressers, electricians, plumbers, mechanics, and carpenters from across the riding, all opposed to the new tax, and present petitions on their behalf in the legislature. It is clear that the College of Trades does little to address our current skills shortage and will make it more difficult and more expensive to do business in the province of Ontario. I stand with my colleagues in the Ontario PC caucus committed to opposing this new tax that will undoubtedly have a negative impact on tradespeople and the economy across the province. I would also like to encourage people to visit stopthetradestax.ca to learn more and to sign the petition. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Member statements. The member from Timmins, James Bay.
Well, thank you, Speaker. Again, I call on the government to do the right thing when it comes to what is the potential of the Ring of Fire. We have in Ontario one of the richest natural resources when it comes to chromite across the world. We're talking about ore that's 50 to 60% pure when it comes to the chromite deposits there. Not only do you have chromite, Mr. Speaker, you have nickel, you have gold, you have other materials. And there's a huge opportunity here for Ontario to position itself as a manufacturer of stainless steel. Ontario and Canada are the only G8 countries that are not in a major way into the manufacturing of stainless steel, but yet we control most of the natural resources. Why wouldn't Ontario, who controls the natural resources for what are the component parts to make stainless steel, not taking advantage of what is our competitive advantage? The ore is here in the ground. We can bring the ore to a site somewhere in Ontario, bring the iron ore in, bring the chromite in, bring the nickel matte in, and be able to process that into stainless steel. Yes, it's going to take some doing. Private sector is interested in making those investments, but we need to have a provincial government who's prepared to do what it needs to do in order to facilitate those discussions that we can have it. Imagine if we get the stainless steel. That means to say literally thousands of jobs, if not in the tens of thousands of jobs across the Ontario economy, from everything from the mining of the ore in the Ring of Fire to the shipping on rail south somewhere and the processing of stainless steel. The finance jobs, the activity on the TSX is just incalculable, and I call on this government to work with us in order to position this Ring of Fire as a potential for making stainless steel in Ontario.
Member statement. The member from Ottawa, Orleans.
Thank you, Speaker. Last week I met with two nurses, Una Ferguson and Cecile Divi, from Orleans, representing the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario, or RNAO. We discussed a number of things related to health in Ontario: the effects of poverty, the need for more and better social housing, and the modernization of health care. One thing I was encouraged by after this meeting was the greater role nurses are taking in health policy and research. Like our government, the RNAO's policy team is focused on creating a vibrant and healthy Ontario. We also discussed the recently released Healthy Kids panel report, co-chaired by Ottawa's own Alex Munter, CEO of the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. The report correctly concludes that if Ontario's healthcare system is to be sustainable in the future, healthier lifestyles need to be a big part of the solution. The nurses agreed that when $4.5 billion are spent treating preventable health conditions caused by obesity like type 2 diabetes and heart disease, we as legislators and professionals must not stand idly by. The report shows that 75% of obese children go on to become obese adults. The best way of preventing these future health problems is to take aggressive action today. The panel had 3 recommendations: starting all kids on the path to health from before birth and onward, creating healthy communities where kids can play and be active, and changing the food environment to help make it easier for kids and parents to choose healthy foods. Their interest in this report was encouraging. Governments can't solve these problems alone. We need all hands-on-deck approach that involves all parties, the private sector, non-profits, most importantly, Ontario families. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Member statement. The member from Northumberland, Quinte West.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. For 2 years now, citizens of Northumberland, Quinte West have voiced their concerns and pleaded with this government to not place wind turbines in their community. Since being elected, I have supported my constituents as they have attended numerous meaningless public information sessions on proposed wind turbine farms. I want to give credit to the Alliance for the Protection of Northumberland Hills, Mr. Speaker, for the relentless efforts to mobilize constituents, create awareness, and try to stop these problem-plagued windmills. I further want to acknowledge the Township of Alnwick-Haldimand's recent adopted motions stating they do not support the approval of industrial wind farms within their community, Mr. Speaker. Citizens have attended public meetings hoping their voices actually mattered, when in reality these meetings were